and they have a right to be skeptical. It's perfectly fine. So think about this though, you can always go for the no, that sigh in consultative selling is so powerful. Mr. Prospect, I think we have a problem. What? Huh? They're instantly paying attention. What do you mean, right? Let them rescue you. Hi, this is Jason Kanigan, the president of Sales on Fire, and today we're going to talk about buyers are liars. Why do people say that phrase? What does it mean? Why did that come about? Well, the reason is that it's the salesperson's fault. Everything is the result of the salesperson, okay, and selling. You are responsible as the salesperson for what happens. And unfortunately for you and I, the kind of salespeople who came before over the past 100 years or maybe longer said whatever the heck they wanted to say or had to say in order to make that sale. And so two things happened. First, the customer probably ended up with something that they didn't need. Yeah, they were talked into it. It's even happened to me. And second of all, they got something and it didn't do everything that they thought it was going to do. And so this leads to a condition called buyer's remorse, and that's when the customer calls you back a couple hours later, hey Jason, I want my money back, right? And you never want to hear that, and I don't hear that anymore after I got my sales training and started implementing what I know about qualifying. So unfortunately, people are afraid of getting ripped off, and that's just the situation that we as salespeople walk into. There's no way around it. You're going to get into that situation with your prospects, and so you're always starting off in the negative, and it's your job to demonstrate that you're a trusted advisor and get those people thinking about you differently. And the way to do that is to behave differently, as I've often talked about. So we're on a mission to elevate the field of selling, and that means we're in an uphill battle. We've got this attitude that prospects have that is negative about salespeople that we need to deal with. And there's this thing in society about salespeople, the used car salespeople selling ice to Eskimos. All these things are negative, right? They're all about ripping us off, okay? And so it's really important for you to come into that conversation with some pre-framing and to be elevated as that trusted advisor as much as you can. So there is a way to stop this sort of traffic snarl up. See, the prospect is going to be in this kind of turtled mode, and they're not relaxed, they're tense, and they're afraid that they're going to give you information. So their way of getting around this is to line up a bunch of sellers, talk to them all, kind of without promising them, imply that they're going to give them the order, get all the information that they can, and then make kind of a chart, with the features down the side and the companies across the top, and then kind of a score across the bottom. And whether they do this on a real spreadsheet, which the C-types and the disc profile will do, or they just do it in their heads, like say maybe a D or an I might do, then they're still going to come up with that conclusion, okay? And you need to short circuit this as fast as possible. And so there's this trust hurdle at the beginning of the buying process, and you need to stop them, these prospects, from getting away with a free education from you, okay? Because otherwise they'll get the free education, they'll promise to talk to you again, and then they'll hide, and you'll be chasing them and calling them and not getting a response, and it'll be ugly. So run your process, okay? If they won't share the truth with you about what's going on, and I don't expect them to share 100% of the truth. People I've worked with for many years don't share 100% of the truth with me. I've had people who I've had great relationships with, working with for many years, who suddenly said, I'm changing the direction of my business. And I go, why the heck didn't you talk to me about that? I could have helped you with it. But no, there's always that 1% that they'll hold back. And frankly, we'll do it too when we're buyers as well. We have a right to be skeptical, and they have a right to be skeptical. It's perfectly fine. So think about this though, you can always go for the no. That sigh in consultative selling is so powerful. Mr. Prospect, I think we have a problem. What? Huh? They're instantly paying attention. What do you mean, right? Let them rescue you from it. Well, I've spoken with people before, and all they want to know is my price, and they don't really understand what I do, but they think they do, and this leads to this situation where it just comes down to price. And honestly, I don't even know if we're a fit. So if we can't share some information with each other, if I can't find out about what's going on in your world, then it's just not going to work, you know. So are you willing to continue talking with me and sharing some of the reality of what's going on in your world? That kind of a question will get you pretty far. That's going for the no, isn't it? Right? And we'll either get a, okay, it's over, and that's fine. No is a perfectly acceptable outcome here, okay? The desperation of salespeople, oh, I gotta make this sale, that's no good. That's not a trusted advisor. That's not looking for fit, is it? Does that sound like that to you? No. We want that door to be open if that's the way they want to go, if that's the way we want to go. That's perfectly fine. So make sure that you set up the ground rules before you start talking to a prospect, okay? So that's when you sit down and you set up your agenda and expectations. Mr. Prospect, thanks for meeting with me today. I understand we have, what, half an hour, something like that, right? Get specific on that, or you'll waste all your time in the preamble, and then the period will expire and you got to get out of there and you haven't got anything, right? So I'm going to ask you a few questions. I assume you'll have some questions for me, and at the end of this time we'll both have a good idea of whether we should move forward or not and figure out what that looks like then. Does that sound good? Right? Something like that will get you very, very far and keep you on track. Otherwise, you give up too much control to that prospect. So if you don't lay out the rules about how you're going to have this conversation, that you're going to do some diagnosis and that, who's to blame for the outcome, right? It's you. So remember, all this responsibility for getting out of that buyers or liars situation is on you as the salesperson. Take it seriously. Right? I hope this has explained why that buyers or liars statement pervades in society and what you can do to alleviate it and become that trusted advisor. You really have to be looking out for your prospects' best interests, okay? And this means, and I do this, if there's somebody or something else that you know is a better fit, you have to refer them along, okay? If your thing does 50% of what they want and you know of another thing that does 80%, you really have to let them know. And they'll appreciate it, and it will pay you dividends later. Okay? Some people will say I'm insane for saying that. That's fine. They are not trusted advisors. They are pushy salespeople, and they are not my crowd. They're not the kind of people that are elevating the field of selling and doing what I'm doing. This is Jason Kanigan, the president of Sales on Fire. Thanks for watching.